Welcome back to the fans phone in. We're live. We're taking your calls for the next hour or so. We're talking all things Arsenal. Come join us. Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner, the Arsenal fans phone in, brought to you by the last man standing with loserpool.com. As ever, I'm your host, Harry Symeou, but I'm joined by a co-host this evening, Mike Stavrou, returning to the hot seat. How you doing, mate? Welcome back to the show.
What's going on, man? Long time no see. You good?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. There's lots and lots to discuss on this edition. I'm sure we're going to have some angry callers, some happy callers, a bit of everything. Mike, let's get your take on the recent happenings. What's been going on there, and how did you feel after the Watford game?
Dejected, not surprised, disappointed, but altogether, Harry, the same old feelings that we've been having for a long, long time. The same old trends that we see, good going forward. But as soon as we conceded that goal to go 2-1, which was a ridiculous goal to concede, you just see their heads drop. And that's what Xhaka said after the game, as despicable as it is for a captain to come out and say that, it is true. Like, the players were scared, and that is something that has carried through for so many seasons and something that needs to change. I don't know how. I think it's a mix of mentality and also personnel, but I think there's a lot of factors to blame and a lot of work to be done. And I think what you're seeing now is what me and you were both saying last season, that we got a lot of stick for, you more than me, that is Emery the right man? And people, it's suddenly taken 5 games into the new season, people say, oh yeah, actually, he might not be. But I think, if results keep going bad, then you might see that pick up.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's say a big hello to everybody who is currently watching us in the live chats, whether that's on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. A big hello to every single one of you. Good evening. And of course, to those listening back on the replay. A few of you in the comments already. Claude AFTV1, how is Ozil tired? We're going to come on to that, Claude. Don't worry. Plenty to say on that. Billy Anderson says, big up, Harry. Love your stuff, man. Welcome back to the channel, my friend Hassan. Big up. And now that Arsenal says, bring back Mustafi. We're going to come to your comments. We're going to go around the calls. We've got a long list of callers once again. Big thanks to those of you who have shown an interest. If you are interested in having your say, all you need to do is go over to our Twitter page, Chronicles_AFC, and tweet us, or DM us, I should say. You don't want to tweet it. Your name and your telephone number. If you're contacting us from overseas, we need your Skype address. Now, I've got Mike with me tonight. Mike's going to be chipping in the conversation too. And I've got a sore throat. I'm getting a man flu. So hopefully I don't have to talk as much. That's the plan anyway. But I think, Mike, just finally, before I go on to the first caller, Claude raises an interesting point. How is Ozil tired? What is that about? And are you surprised to hear that Mesut Ozil's been left behind for the Eintracht Frankfurt game?
No. I think Ozil is a bit fed up, to be honest with you. I think he's thrown a strop because clearly he's not in Emery's plans, and I think the relationship between him and Emery is so bad that I think it's irreparable, to be honest with you. The way that things happened last season, and he said that he felt it wasn't a physical encounter that the likes of Ozil will, flourish in. I think that tells you all you need to know. I think he will be used a bit part player. But as showed again, I thought he had a very good game against Watford, the 70 minutes that he did play. So I think Emery needs to be careful.
Yeah, I agree. And before we go to the first call, I just want to say thoughts go out to the family of former Rangers player Fernando Rickson, who sadly passed away. Really sad news, a player that I remember. So it is always sad to hear when someone that you remember growing up has passed away. And he was fighting an illness for a long time. And I guess he's at peace now. I guess you could say that. So a big I want to give our condolences basically to the Rickson family and, of course, to Rangers Football Club. Right, let's head over to our first caller. We're going overseas for this one. Here we go.
Tune.
Hello.
Good evening. Welcome to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Introduce yourself and where are we talking to you from?
It's Glenn from New York. How are you, Harry?
I'm good, mate. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. What's with you and your guests and the facial hair? It's like, is this Chronicles or is this the movie 300? What's going on with you?
Yeah, we're both Greek, you see, so we need to stick to the sort of image, you know, of being tough and hard and all that.
I got two questions. One, first, let me address what you said. You said in one of your earlier shows that you were having doubts about Pepe. How can you be so impatient? You're usually the voice of reason.
It's not that I'm annoyed at him or I'm pissed off at him or I wish that we didn't sign him. When I look at Nicola Pepe, I see a lot of raw talent and there's pace there, there's power, there's trickery. I see all that. But do we have the right coach to get it out of him? And I know people wanted Arsene Wenger gone, me included. But I guess my point was that somebody like Arsene Wenger would have been more equipped to develop someone like Pepe, and I worry about his development given the investment we've made under this manager. I don't know, Mike, your take on that.
Okay. Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. The other guy.
That's harsh.
Or were you asking me? Who are you asking?
I'll ask both of you. Go on, Glenn.
Yeah, I think that's harsh, but Glenn, yeah.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, and I didn't know that your major concern was with the Unai Emery and not actually Pepe, because I mean, going into the Watford game, Pepe led Arsenal in completed dribbles and in passes into the box. So I mean, and he didn't even play all the fucking games. Oh, sorry, dropped the F-bomb there. No, fuck that. You said fuck like 5 times last show. And how does it feel to be in the majority about Unai Emery? Because you've been complaining about him for at least half a year now. Not complaining, but pointing things out. So, stop apologizing because, our fan base is obviously turned on him. And this brings me to my second question. Something that you just tweeted just maybe a half an hour ago, and it literally made my jaw drop. What Ainsley Maitland-Niles said about the team against Watford, where, questioning in public the coach's tactics. Now, dude, I've seen this a million times over all types of sports. I believe Unai Emery's losing the team. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree. I think that some of the comments that we've seen come out in the last few days in the aftermath of that game, of course, would suggest that people were not entirely pleased with the way Unai Emery's going about things. And, what can we do? I think that Unai Emery's tactics are too complicated. I think he's overcomplicating things. I think he's overly pragmatic, and I think that's been the case ever since he joined Arsenal, and it's been a real problem. Glenn, I don't know if you can hear Mike, but I'm going to bring Mike in just for a second, and I'll bring you back in a minute, Glenn.
Okay,
Mike, your take on the players starting to seemingly come out and publicly criticize Unai Emery.
Yeah, I mean, did you see the report in the Athletic the other day? That was from Gunner Blog, I think. And he's got some sort of source in the club. And I don't know if I can believe it, to be honest, because when someone doesn't name their source, you are a bit questionable of them. And I don't know how anyone would know this unless they work literally within the club. But he said that the players were getting bored of Emery's 2-hour video analysis after every game. There was something else that came out. Alan Smith said recently that there were whispers that the players didn't understand the instructions that Emery was giving. I mean, and me and you went to his press conference, Harry. I think we probably got about 4 words out of about 20 minutes. I mean, he's not an easy guy to understand. And when he's giving them detailed, layered instructions, I'm not surprised the players can't understand. And the thing is, we've been talking about this a lot. Like when you're going from one system to another system to another system, different personnel, it's so confusing for a player. So I think that's what the main issue is at the moment.
Absolutely. Glenn, do you agree that Unai Emery maybe isn't able to get his, and I don't want to be like that guy that sits there and says, oh, it's because he can't speak English, because lots of coaches have done jobs in countries where they haven't necessarily been very fluent in the language. But that's got to be some sort of problem, Glenn. Has it not? Has it not got to be a problem, him trying to get such detail across to his players week in, week out?
I don't think it's a language thing at all, Harry. And I didn't hear Mike, so forgive me if I repeat anything. But I've seen coaches like Unai Emery before, where when there's a bunch of superstars on the team, they just can't handle it properly. I believe he'd be better with a bunch of lesser quality players, but that's just my opinion. I would like to say this though: for the longest time, I've been saying that Unai Emery needs to go to the end of the year, to the end of the season, and finish his contract out. But with all these players coming out in public, I'm starting to doubt if he's going to make it to the end of the season.
Yeah, me too. And Glenn, just finally, before I let you go, mate, your opinion on this whole Mesut Ozil thing. He's been rested apparently for the game in Frankfurt. What do you make of that? There's surely something's going on there.
That just doesn't make sense. That fucker had plenty of rest in the second half against Watford because he didn't do shit. So, that's my fucking opinion. Don't get me started on Mesut Ozil, man.
Great.
And thank you for having me on, Harry. Mike, pleasure, and I'll talk to you soon.
Great stuff,
Bye,
Mike.
Glenn.
Thank you so much, mate. Cheers,
Bye.
mate. All the best. That was the brilliant Glenn from New York. Fantastic stuff. Guys, before we move on to the next call, I want to say hello to everyone who's tuned in live at the moment. And in response to Billy Anderson, who says, loving those shirts, Harry, competition freebie coming up. Here we go. We've got one to give away this evening. Here you go. So the best caller on tonight's show will win this shirt. It will be posted out to you. We'll take your details after the show, but it's going to be voted for by you guys who are in the comments. So those of you in the comments, you're going to name who you think was the best caller on tonight's show. So pay attention to the names. That was Glenn from New York. So put it in the comments and I'll be going back through the comments later on and finding who's got the most votes, and they will be winning the shirt, and I'll be in contact with them in the next couple of days. Mike, let's talk about some polls. Now, we've got some polls here, which I'm going to come to now. Let me just share my screen with those of you watching us live on YouTube at the moment, and we're going to move on to the next caller. Here we go. I put a poll out today. At this moment, do you believe Unai Emery is the right man to take this club forward?
Jeez.
82% of 357 people said no. Are you surprised by that?
Yes and no. Purely because just at the end of last season, when we had 8 games to save our season and finish it in the top 4, and then when we completely bottled the Europa League final, people weren't saying it then because they were so convinced that we were going to spend loads of money over the summer and it was all going to change, and we get some elite players, and Emery was suddenly becoming an incredible coach. So in that sense, I'm a bit surprised. But when you look at the performances, and he has had a whole summer and full preseason again to work with the players and the new ones he's brought in that sense, I'm surprised. But when you look at the performances, Harry, I mean, it's the same old rubbish. I mean, and just the tactical setup from Liverpool, completely wrong, allowing Trent and Robertson so much space, awful. Against Spurs, I think they really created too many chances against us. And against Watford, 31 attempts. And some of the stats that I'm seeing this season about, we've conceded 90 plus shots, which is like after 5 games, which is like the worst in Premier League history. And when I see stuff like that, it doesn't surprise me. But it is after 5 games, and I agree with Glenn's sentiments that you do have to give him the season, because when you start these mid-season sackings, it never goes right. And what you want to do, you want to be able to plan Emery's departure perfectly, so you line up someone else to come in. Yeah.
Absolutely. Right. Let's go over to the next caller. Claude says he was saying it in May. Yeah, I was too, mate. And I took a shitload of stick from it, especially on Arsenal Fan TV. People voting for themselves that are not callers. If you're not a caller, you can get hold of one of these t-shirts. If you DM me, I'll let you know. We're sending them out at cost price, which is £10, which is nothing. That's what they cost to print. We're not making anything. And it's actually embroidered the logo as well. So it should last a little bit longer. Right. Let's hit caller number 2. God, the phone's a bit slow tonight, isn't it?
I just want to say, Glenn, as well. What a legend! I mean,
Welcome
I think
to the O2 messaging
he's
service.
winning that. He's winning that race already to be best caller already. I'm just saying, and also as well, all this stick that a lot of fans from other countries get, I think is completely wrong, because you just have to listen to him, see how passionate he is. And I know quite a few Arsenal fans that are from America as well, and you know, when I first started talking to him, I was a bit like, oh, you know, he is a little bit strange to hear the accent and
talking about Arsenal,
you used to him talking about NFL or baseball or something. So to him talking about Arsenal is strange, but then you realise that how much passion they do have, and just because they don't live here doesn't mean that they're not any, you know, less committed to the club. So fair play, Glenn. You're a legend.
Let's go over to the phone lines once again. We couldn't get through to Tyler Burns, so if you turn your phone on, mate.
How's it going, Harry?
Hello, mate. Introduce yourself and where are we talking to you from?
It's Miguel from Basingstoke, originally from Toronto, but I moved to the UK. And yeah, I have an accent too, so you might have to get used to that, Mike.
We have got used to it, my friend, and we really, really do appreciate all our listeners, all our followers from overseas. We really do. My friend, what do you want to say on Unai Emery? What do you want to say on Watford? What do you want to say on Arsenal in general?
Okay, you know, I always call and scream patience for the players, patience on the manager, patience in general. But when it comes to the last couple performances, you start to realize that Emery's style, strengths and weaknesses. And personally, when it comes to strengths, we don't know what his strengths are. When it comes to his weakness, we all know what our weaknesses are. Individual mistakes that our players that are making from pressure that we put on ourselves, and our style. I would say we do have a style. Our style is basically get it out wide and whip it back in with our wingbacks or our wingers, and it becomes very predictable after a while.
Absolutely. I would throw this out there and say that I don't think Unai Emery has many strengths. I don't think he's a good manager. That's my honest opinion. What have you made of the Mesut Ozil situation? People are talking about that now. He's been rested, apparently.
I think that's something to do with the German national team, and they're trying to cover up for him. It might be something to do with that. I don't think it's actually anything to do with him personally not wanting to go or anything like that. But I feel like they may be trying to cover him from getting stick, because he might get a lot of stick from the German fans. I'm not sure if Germany is like a very nationalistic country or not, but they might be feeling some kind of ways over him not showing up to the national team and just resigning in a way, or retiring.
I agree. I think that has got a part to play in it. I know Unai Emery's denied it, but he's not hardly going to come out and say it, is he?
Yeah. But I got one more point.
Go ahead.
I noticed that Luis Enrique resigned from the Spanish national job because of unfortunate events with his daughter.
Yep.
And I think he might be in line for the Arsenal job, because when we were looking for a manager to get in, Luis Enrique's name was being put up around, and the person who's bringing him around was Raul Sanelli. And now that Raul is fully in charge, I would say, he might be looking at Luis Enrique and be like, hey, you're available, another Spanish manager. And when you got to think about at the end of his Barcelona tenure, he hired like 5 Spanish managers back to back. So I think if we do get rid of Unai Emery, don't be surprised if we get another Spanish manager in.
Yeah, it's a great point. Igal, thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
We'll speak to you again soon.
Okay, bye, buddy.
All the best. That was the brilliant Igal. He's been on with us a few times, Igal. Good lad. Mike, while I get the next call ready, I'm gonna turn your attention to another poll that we put out today, and I want to get your brief take on this. Now, I've seen this poll a few times already, and I did mention that in the tweet. Would you take Jose Mourinho at Arsenal? 69% said no, 31% said yes. Your take on that? Would you have Jose Mourinho at Arsenal?
Hell no. That guy is toxic, man. We know. We've seen too much, and the amount of hatred towards Arsenal and Arsene Wenger as well. I feel like it will be like cheating on Wenger almost to get someone like Mourinho in, because I know that they're professional, but they're definitely not friends. I mean, I was watching that Ronaldo interview with Piers Morgan last night, and he was talking about him and Messi, and he was like, yeah.
Oh, we've lost Mike there, lost the connection a little bit. Let's go on to the call, and we'll come back to Mike in just a second. Here we go. Always the issue with live shows, I guess. Here we go. Let's dial up.
You lost me. I'm back.
We lost you, mate. But we'll go over to the call and we'll come back to you. Here we go. Always the issue with live shows again. Hello, mate.
Good evening.
Good evening, Melvin. How you doing? Welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner.
Thanks for having me on again, Harry.
No problem. Anytime, mate. You're always welcome. You know that. What do you want to say on what's been going on at our football club in the last few days?
Well, I think our current manager, I'm going to call him that, has got a decision to make. He's given the directors a decision to make. Whether they make it at the end of the year or the end of the season, they will make it. And it's not going to look good. Because the manager really, to add on to things, he doesn't know his best formation or system. And by this time, he should know that. He doesn't even know his best captain. Absolutely. And I just think it's really a sad event, really, what's happening at the moment to us. And we're talking about so many shots that have against our team. One thing we don't have is a defensive midfielder. We have Xhaka and we have Guendouzi, but they really, at some stage, they're more hindrance than really help us out. A lot of these shots are coming from midfield. If we had a defensive midfielder just to destroy it, it wouldn't happen. There's not like a lot of goals are scored from the wing and all that. It's coming through. I mean, on Sunday against Watford, they look like world beaters. Their midfield. They were just walking through us. That should never ever happen. And if you don't have a strong defence, you can't win anything. And if you don't have a strong midfield, you don't have a strong defence. Sorry.
Absolutely agreed. And we were talking with some friends earlier on, and we were talking about the fact that when you look at the great Arsenal teams and the great centre-backs, they always had some form of protection, as do any good centre-back, because you need that. Is there a danger, though, Melvin? And I want to put this question to you, that maybe we're overstating this, this thing with the shot stats, because if a lot of them shots are from distance, I guess you don't really mind that much. They're not as dangerous. Do you think that maybe we're latching onto that stat a little bit too much? I mean, it's helpful in analysing what our performances, but do you think we're maybe hanging on to that stat a little bit too much?
I think we are in a certain way, but what the stats don't tell you sometimes is that the amount of chances the teams have against us, and that's far more worrying.
Yeah. Great point. What do you make, Melvin, of the Mesut Ozil situation? We've heard that he's been rested. He's only played 70 minutes of football.
Listen, you know as well as I do that if it's a young kid coming through the ranks and it happened to that young kid, he'd be out of the club in 2 minutes. We've invested too much in him, time and money, and we can't afford to show ourselves up and just cut him. We should cut him, but perhaps he's uncuttable. Perhaps there's no club that's going to pay that even half the wages. So we're stuck with it. A very bad decision was made. In fact, before the decision was made, no one would have believed that we would have done it. And people say, well, we did it to please the fans. I don't think they did that, the Arsenal board. I think they were just clueless because they weren't worried about the fans a year or two ago.
Yeah, absolutely right. Melvin, what do you make of the Unai Emery's decision not to name a captain? He said he was going to do it this week. Now he's delayed it apparently till after the Nottingham Forest game. What on earth is that all about? How can we not have a captain? How can we not know who our captain is? And
Harry.
It's mad.
Oh, Harry, that shows weakness. Inability to make a decision. And where's that going to get you? It's not good news, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there, mate. Melvin, thank you so much for joining us, mate. And guys, don't forget, those of you who are watching live or listening back or watching back, leave your favorite caller's name in the comments section, they'll get a free Chronicles of a Gooner t-shirt. We'll be sending that out. So please do leave your notes in the comments of who you think is the best caller. Melvin, thank you, mate, and we'll speak again soon.
Thanks, Harry. All the best. Cheers.
All the best, mate. Thank you. That was the brilliant Melvin. Mike, I'm going to come to you. Let's talk about this captains thing. What have you made of the fact that A, we have 5 captains apparently, and B, he seems like he's delaying it again. What the fuck is he dilly-dallying about for? I don't get it.
I don't know. And if Xhaka is like the main one of those 5, it's fucking worrying when your captain is saying they were scared of an opponent. And I mean, that for me was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I mean, can you imagine in a competitive sport where you're literally going head to head against an opponent, and it's like war sometimes? I mean, especially like in the North London derby, for your leader to say that you were scared. I mean, even if they felt it, just never admit it. And it's something that needs to be resolved. I mean, is the role of the captain these days as important as it once was? Like, do you still get your John Terrys and Frank Lampards and Steven Gerrards? Probably not. But is it important to hold someone up as the sort of focal point, someone who you should look up to? Definitely. The fact that the Xhaka is even in there is a bit of a joke. But to be fair, Harry, like, I look at our team and I don't see a natural leader there. I know how many times we've been saying it, but I don't look at them and no one pops out at me. To be honest, I don't know. Can you see anyone in there that looks like a leader that can marshal the troops, or even lead by example?
Nobody stands out, do they? But that's the manager's problem. That's the manager's decision to make. And Claude Cut says, "When is the raffle for the captaincy?" He's
spot on.
Go subscribe to Claude's channel as well. I think it's Gooner Claude. It's really
I
good.
want to ask him a question, Claude, because obviously, like, it's time to go. Was your big catchphrase? Is it time to go for Emery, mate?
Oh, Claude's been saying it since last season, along with me, and we've both been getting pelters for it. A quick question, Mike. Just a brief answer on this one before we go back to the phone lines. The Smiths, 1986. Thank you for tuning in, as always, mate. He says, should Arsenal recall Nketiah, I guess in light of Alex Lacazette's injury? I think it will do him more harm than, leaving him at Leeds, where he's at least getting some game time. What do you make of it?
No, because he's done really well for Leeds so far. Still yet to start in the league, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's been banging goals. He's got a few goals in the cup. He's come on a lot. And what's happening at Leeds? I think Patrick Bamford's starting up front, and he's sort of tiring defences out, which leaves Eddie to come in and clean up. But I'd like to see him like start for Leeds more often, and because I think that's when it's tougher, when you have to sort of lead the line and be. Because let's be honest, I love Eddie Nketiah, but if there's one thing he needs to improve on, it's his physicality. I still think he's quite slight. I mean, he's a natural goal scorer, and you can tell that by his instincts. Got great instincts. To recall him, I think would be stupid, and I think we'd be stooping to Spurs' levels, because I think they want to recall Jack Clark from Leeds. So I don't think we should do that by any means. If you're talking about a bit of a lack of striking power, I think you only have to look to someone like Tyrese John-Jules. I think he could do the job in Europa League. Once we get this Frankfurt game out of the way, which is the hardest game, and hopefully we get 3 points, I think maybe Aubameyang can, Emery can say to me, look, like let's play one of the youngsters up there, possibly even Pepe, to get him a goal, get him some confidence. But in answer to the question, no, I don't think we should recall him.
Okay, great stuff. Let's go back to the phones. We're going to go back to a caller that we couldn't get through to a little bit earlier on. He didn't have any signal, so let's try him again.
Hello.
Good evening, mate. Welcome to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Introduce yourself and where are we talking to you from?
My name's Tyler Burns.
Tyler, welcome back to the show, mate. What do you want to say on Arsenal?
I'm just sick of the performance. I don't really care what Unai Emery's trying to do. There's no style, there's nothing really. It's as if he's lost in the dressing room to me. There's something not right,
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. It's worrying, isn't it? It is really worrying.
I think a big part it's a language barrier. I think that a major part of it, like,
Yep.
Because I don't think he's clear. Like, you see him in like press conferences and that. See these talking to like the English boys and that. They're going to find that hard to understand.
Yeah, I find him hard to, like Mike said earlier on, me and Mike were in one of his press conferences. We were sitting there and we were both looking at each other. We couldn't make out what he was trying to say. It felt like he just...
He talked in riddles, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's like he goes to say one thing and you think you know what he's going to say, and then he flips it right round again, and it's a real problem. I do think it plays a part. Just finally, mate, because we haven't got a great signal. What's your feelings on the Mesut Ozil thing? Is it Mesut Ozil not wanting to play in the Europa League, or is it Unai Emery not wanting to play him?
Well, you know, I think it could be Emery. I think there's obviously something between him and Ozil, so there's something clear. They don't like each other. There's something between them. So it is. But if Emery's not improved at the Christmas, if Allegri's available, I'd just cut ties with him and go for Allegri. But
yeah, I don't disagree, mate. Tyler, thank you so much, mate. I'm going to have to leave it there, but we'll catch up again very soon.
Right. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye. Great stuff. Let's move on to another caller. We've got lots. We've got more numbers coming through now as well while we're on the phone. The list.
It's an interesting shout, though, Harry. Max Allegri. I mean, that's one that's been touted about, as well as Jose Mourinho. Unfortunately, our viewers were lucky enough not to hear my rant against him. I think would have gotten a bit of trouble for that, for what I was actually saying. So I'm lucky for my shit internet. Yeah, Allegri could be one. I mean, as a short term, but does it solve anything? I don't know. For me, it doesn't. For me, it just plugs a gap. Yeah, he would make us solidly defensively, but in terms of a long-term manager, which our next appointment needs to be, I don't know. I have doubts.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Guys, let us know in the comments your thoughts. Of course, tell us who you think is the best caller, because as I said, they'll be winning a prize. And I don't want this to seem like we're sitting here, going with a negative bandwagon, like we're just sitting here campaigning for Unai Emery to go. My view on Unai Emery has been this way for a long, long time. This is not reactionary because of the Watford result. I can say that for Mike as well, and I can say that for a lot of you guys too that I speak to regularly. But is there anyone out there who thinks that it is too early to be getting on Unai Emery's back? Is there anybody out there who has some sympathy for him and that wants to defend him? If they do, send us your number.
You're a brave guy. You're a brave guy.
I will take my hat off to you, because that will, like Mike said, it's kind of going against the grain, isn't it, at the minute? Right, let's dial up our next caller. Here we go.
I just want to say we've been getting some comments in about captains. Keep them coming in. Leno, Lacazette.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome back to the show, mate. Introduce yourself and where you're talking to us from.
It's Colin of Much Arsenal, and yeah, we're just phoning from miserable Scotland out here.
Is it nice and cold up there?
Oh God, Harry, don't have to go into that. Jesus.
What do you want to say on the Arsenal, mate?
Do you know what, Harry? Right? I'm going to open with this, right? I'll hold my hands up here because you know what my stance on the manager was before. I'll hold my hands up and say, you know what? You were right.
I got one.
Right.
I got one.
You were right. Listen, I know you don't get any pleasure out of being right about that. I know that. My issue with Emery is his substitutions at the weekend. They made no sense.
Yep.
No sense whatsoever. Why are you taking Symeou off? Why?
Beats me, mate. Beats me. Even to take off Ozil as well, it was like you took off the ball players in a time. And when Watford got that goal back and a team gets the bit between their teeth, you almost need to have that that superior ability to get control of the game again. It's not, people talk about fighting and dogfighting, and it's not about that. It's about getting your foot on the ball, keeping the ball, and taking the sting out of them. And with the changes that Unai Emery made, I just felt that we couldn't do that.
To be honest with you, Harry, this whole thing with Emery, right? Like I've heard you say a couple of times, this isn't reactionary, all right? This has been bubbling under the surface for a while. And truthfully, it goes all the way back to, well, for me, it goes all the way back to the Europa League final, at least from my standpoint. As far as everybody else goes, I might have gone back further, but I chose not to go in on Unai Emery after the Europa League final. And to be honest with you, I would have been well within my rights to do so.
Mm-hmm.
But I chose not to. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Watford was so bad. They're bottom of the league, Harry. Bottom of the league. Watford, who are bottom of the league, are getting 30 shots against us. That should not happen ever.
It's almost, you said, Colin, there about the Europa League final, and that was your kind of point where you started to wonder about Emery. Now, for me, I didn't really. I got upset about the Europa League final, like everybody else. Of course I did. But I kind of, when I calmed down, I was like, you know what? It's a one-off game. And this shit happens from time to time. The players don't turn up, etc., etc. And I kind of tried to not, when I was talking about the things that were annoying me or that I didn't like about Unai Emery, I was trying to stay away from picking on one game, because for me, it was something that, like you said, that was brewing for a long, long time. But I guess everybody has their point where they trip, don't they? And they change their opinion. What are the things that concern you, though? Because it's not just shots against Watford on one day.
No. It's not shots. It's not based off the Watford game, Harry. It's not. It's the fact that we don't have a settled system. Like, it's the fact that even after a year, right, we're into Unai Emery's second season, we're 5 games in, and we still, to this day, don't know what Unai Emery's style of play is.
Yeah, agreed.
Honestly, if you'd asked me what our style of play is, I couldn't tell you. All I'd tell you is that it's awful. That's what it's awful football. There's a difference between being pragmatic and being over pragmatic. And that's what I feel Emery's doing. He's being over pragmatic to the point where he's actually exposing our weaknesses more than protecting them. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to protect our weaknesses, but by doing that, he's actually overexposing them.
Yeah, agreed. He's too focused on them, isn't he? He's too focused on not losing a game rather than going out to win it.
The thing is, Harry, we're not a defensive team. We've never been a defensive team, ever. Like, when was the last time we could see a game out? Like, and that being like from the manager's instructions.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. The last game I remember we saw a game out was Man City away 4 years ago. And that was because the players changed the tactics, not the manager. Yeah. Like, that to me, with Unai Emery, I just don't get that feeling that he's going to take us to that next level. And I don't mean Champions League qualification, right? That's step one, right? And it's doubtful he'll even get that at this point.
Yep.
The next level for us, right? If you're talking what Arsenal fans would want to eventually get to, it's the league title.
Yeah, absolutely.
And usually with managers, I get this like kind of sense that, you know, okay, I can see where he's going with this.
But you can't, can you? You can't with Emery.
I got that feeling with Klopp. I got that feeling with Sarri. I got that feeling with Guardiola. In fact, shocking as it is, I'm even getting that feeling about Lampard of all people. Right? But with Unai Emery, I just don't get that feeling. There's nothing about him that makes me think he's going to take us to the title. And the captain's nonsense, right? Because I've been watching the show tonight, yeah?
Yep.
And the fact that he's not decided on his captain, even though he said he was going to announce it at the start of the week, and he still hasn't.
It's not acceptable.
That to me shows weakness, right? If anything, I'm in charge, I'd be on the phone to Allegri right now, and I'd just be like, you know what, Allegri, I'll give you whatever you want. Call managers at Christmas, and then take the club forward. Because Emery's not the guy.
Yeah.
Allegri at least has a style of play and would stick with it. With Emery, it's like, okay. Do you know what, right? The best way I can describe it, right? It's like a newbie on Football Manager.
Yeah, but he doesn't know what they're doing and keeps chopping and changing.
He's just trying different things and thinking, okay, I'll do this. Oh, that's not worked, I'll do this. Oh, that's not worked, I'll do this. Oh, that's not worked, I'll do this. Like, he's like a little kid lost in a shopping centre.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
For real, like, it's a joke. And that's just one of many things that annoy me about him. To top it all off, what some of the other callers have said about his press conferences, not understanding what he's saying, that doesn't bother me as much because I don't watch press conferences anyway. But what does annoy me is the fact that from a tactical point of view, I just don't understand what he's trying to do. Is he trying to play it out from the back? Is he trying to long ball it? What's he trying to do?
Yeah, you're right, Colin. Colin, you're absolutely right. There is no structure. There is no vision. There is basically no clue. I'm going to have to leave it there, mate, because we've got lots and lots of callers to get.
Colin.
Thank you for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll speak soon, my friend.
Indeed, we will, Harry. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. That's the brilliant Colin. Guys, so far, we've had a Gal, we've had Melvin, we've had Tyler, we've had Colin. Don't forget to vote for your favourite caller in the comments section.
Harry, Glenn.
Oh, Glenn. How could I forget Glenn? How could I forget Glenn?
What's wrong with you, man?
Glenn isn't on my list because Glenn came through to me via a different channel. That's why he's not on the list in front of me. Apologies, Glenn. You know you're my favourite American. You know that, mate. Right, let's go to the next one because we've got lots and lots of numbers coming through. Don't worry, those of you who have sent me DMs, I can see them and I am getting to them, I promise. Don't forget to hit that like button. Like Dipak says, there's lots of you watching and there's only a few likes. So if you haven't already, please do smash that like button. It really, really helps. And we're going to go back overseas for our next call. Mike, what do you make of what everyone's been saying? Are you surprised at the sort of, I guess, negativity towards Emery at the moment?
There's been some really good comments. Now Arsenal just said, Unai Emery isn't here to get us to the title. He's here to get us.
We always seem to lose Mike when he goes into his monologue every time. Mike, we've lost you there for a second, mate. We're going to go back to the phone lines and we'll come back to you in a moment.
I was just making a good point as well every time.
Go on, you're back. Make it.
Yeah. So what now Arsenal was saying about Emery, he's only here to get us to the top four. I sort of agree with him in a way because I feel like he was brought in as a stopgap, even though the upper powers at Arsenal didn't say that. They said they believed in him. They have to say that. I feel like he really was someone to steady us. And by steady us on the pitch, obviously we haven't seen that. We don't know his style. We're not consistent. But I think if he does get us into the top four and back in Champions League, I think that's job done almost. So I just want to put it out to everyone out there as well. Let me know. Are you in favour of a mid-season sacking, or would you give Emery till the end of the year? Say like we're in December, it's still not going well. We've lost a few more games, won a few more, similar to how we started. Because I personally, I know, Harry, that I'm not in favour of mid-season sackings. I don't think it does much good. I think give him to the end of the season. But it'd be interesting to see what people think.
Absolutely. I would have cut my losses at the end of last season. I've said that time and time again. Lots of comments in regards to the callers. Keep them coming, guys. And if you want a t-shirt anyway, all you need to do is DM us Chronicles_AFC. They're £10, which is basically what we pay for them. And the postage is on us. We're just trying to get as many of them out of there as possible for you guys to enjoy. So they are really comfortable. They're embroidered too. None of that printed shit. So if you're interested, don't forget to DM us. Right, let's hit the next caller. Hello, my friend. Introduce yourself and where are we talking to you from?
Hello, my name is Wasiu. I'm calling from Naperville, United States.
How you doing, mate? Welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner. What are your thoughts on what's been going on at Arsenal lately?
I don't know. Before I move forward, hello, Mike. How you doing?
Hey, man, how are you? I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm waving.
You won't be able to hear Mike because we've got a little bit of a tech issue, but he's waving at you and he says hello.
Okay. I don't know what to say. Since the weekend after that match, I don't know. I stopped going to Twitter because I don't even know. I'm speechless. I don't want to go with you relating to Emery. I'm trying not to, but I don't know. Before that match, I thought something wasn't like we can't be playing the same style every time. We can't. We don't need to play out from the back. We don't need to. We could go across to the 2 or to the 3. That's the way we played before. Doing Wenger's era, it works fine for us. But now we have to play out from the back. Our 5 and 6 have considered between them 5 goals already this season. Luis has 2 penalties already. Our Papa has like 3 for him also.
But Wasu, isn't it time to, people speak about Luis and Socrates and that they were bad and whatever. And I know that at Arsenal, we've got a structure where it seems like, anyway, that Unai Emery isn't the only man identifying transfer targets. It seems like there's other people doing that as well and dipping their fingers in that. But these are ultimately 2 central defenders that have been brought in under Unai Emery's watch. So do we not have to question the transfer policy that everybody was praising just a few weeks ago?
Oh, hold on. Let's don't get I just get into the transfer pretty much like last season. Like just last season. Because I could remember during Wenger's era, probably the biggest of the transfer I had was Aubameyang, I guess. We just started spending pretty much last season. And beginning of this season, we knew we had issues within our backline, but we needed the winger too. Pepe was a good buy. Don't get me wrong, Pepe was a good buy because we all know they were trying to bring in a CB pretty much, and for them to leave it late, I think I'm still going to question Raul on that because I still believe he's one of the best person that's going to do the job. We let him taking us forward, but I still want to give him. I don't know. I'm trying my best to just give him to the end of the season and see. But moving forward, he's not the. I'm not sure he's the one that's going to take us beyond getting to the title. I'm not sure he's the person. I'm not sure because I don't really understand. I do understand the reason why it took Danny out because Danny was exposing the left side. He wasn't pretty much pushing pretty much. I think I do understand. But for Ozil to go out of the game, no. He needed him to 85th minute.
Yeah.
You took out the ball players out of the game.
That's what I said earlier. He took out the 2 ball players out of the team and expected us to regain control of the game. I totally agree with you, mate.
You saw the tweet. You saw the message from Aubameyang the last time.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be causing confusion between the players because for what Jack had said 2 weeks ago or the upper week about if they have scored then maybe you will have. Now Aubameyang is saying the way I don't know. But I want to try my best to give him to the end of the season. Hopefully, we get to the Champions League because I'm tired of waiting till Thursday trying to see us play. I want to see us the regular Tuesday and Wednesdays to just to get back, just to get the feeling back, because everything. How will play? We play Watford with fear. How will we fear to play Watford? Watford. I'm sorry to say. I'm so sorry. Arsenal is one of the biggest clubs ever. Ever. I know we have some other clubs, but we can't be playing like that.
No, I
We
agree.
play possession game. We play possession game. It was 50, 57. We had like 40 something percent. That's not Arsenal, I know.
Agree,
No,
mate.
that's not.
Agreed.
That's not.
Wasu, thank you so much, mate. I'm going to have to leave
You're
it there
welcome.
just because I've got
It's all right.
lots
Cheers,
and
It's
lots
all
of
right.
numbers.
I like you all the time. I like your program. I say that to everyone for me.
Thank you very
I hope
much.
we win tomorrow. I hope we win tomorrow.
Thank you. Me too, mate. And I'll definitely speak to you soon, mate. All the best. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. All the time. Cheers.
That was the very passionate Wasu from the
What a
United
guy.
States. Absolutely love Wasu. He's called up a few times now, I think. Let's move on to the next one. Mike, it was funny watching Spurs crumble earlier on, wasn't it? They don't seem to like 2-0 leads, a bit like us.
Olympiacos, man. That's my Greek team, by the way.
Do you know
my
what?
Greek team.
They're not mine, but they were tonight. Right, let's hit the next caller. Here we go.
Welcome to the O2 messaging.
We've gone to voicemail. We'll give her one more try. We'll give it one more try.
Welcome to the O2 messaging
service.
Apparently not. Let's move on to another one. Lots and lots coming through. We've got another one lined up right away. Here we go. 1 second. So you're an Olympiacos man, Mike. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's my Greek team. My Cypriot team is Omonia, but they're shit. So
I'm definitely not an Omonia man either.
No,
I think we're going to fall out. No,
I'm an well.
Anorthosi man. Look at the scarf, blue and white. What do you think? It's an Everton scarf or something? Right, let's hit the next one. Here we go.
All these people here, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. Sorry, guys.
Hello.
Good evening, mate. Welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Your name and where are you talking to us from?
Yeah, hi guys. Good evening. It's Chris Davison here, and I'm talking from Norwich.
Mr. Davison, how you doing, mate? How you doing?
I'm not too bad. Enjoying the show.
Good stuff. Glad to hear it. And Chris has got his own show on the Chronicles of a Gooner now on our YouTube channel. It goes out on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, all the usual places where you guys tweet in your questions with hashtag Ask Chris Davison, and he'll be going through a few of those week to week. So the first one was out yesterday. It's on the channel now. Please do check it out. Chris, I've got a bit of a suspicion that you're going to defend Unai Emery a little bit here.
Well, I might surprise you here, Harry. I think that what I will say is, obviously, I've been watching the show tonight and listening to what you guys have been saying, what the fans have been saying, and obviously the majority of it is surrounding Unai Emery, is surrounding Sunday's performance. Look, I think since Unai came in last season, took over from Wenger, the majority of the fans were behind him and willing to give him time. Okay, there may have been a few, including yourself, Harry, that thought, is Unai Emery the right man to do this job, to come in to replace Wenger? Probably not. But we're willing to give him a bit of time. We'll see how he gets on. However, after Sunday, it's clear to see, and this is including myself, it's clear to see people and the supporters are getting frustrated and running out of patience. And for me, that says a lot. You know, things have got to improve, or Emery will be putting his job on the line. It's as simple as that. I'm of course still keep my fingers crossed that he can do something successful with this team. But there's probably better coaches out there. That's safe to say. But what I will say is let's wait and see where we are at the end of the season, because obviously top 4 Champions League football is our target, is our goal. And obviously we're still only a few games into the new season, so I think we've got to give it maybe a few more weeks, few more months, maybe, to see where we come and where we are at then. But what I will say, Harry, is that certainly after Sunday, it did open my eyes a little bit, and it was probably the first time since Unai Emery's come in where he really left me baffled. You know, that just how the team crumbled, how the team were organised, the substitutions. It really did leave me baffled. So, you know, it was the first time, like I said, where I was left slightly concerned and wondering to myself if Unai Emery is the right man to take us forward.
Chris, what do you make of this? This I'm going to call it nonsense because it is nonsense that Mesut Ozil needs a rest after playing 70 minutes of football this season.
Well, if a professional football player who's on 300 grand a week needs a rest after playing 71 minutes of football, then I'll be slightly concerned, Harry. I think there is probably something else in that. There's got to be, you know, whether it is something to do with the unfortunate events which happened off the field a few weeks ago, whether it is, you know, something to do with the manager's thinking. Maybe Unai Emery doesn't think he's ready for a big away game yet abroad after just 71 minutes of football this season. I don't know, but there's got to be another thing with that, because I find that hard to believe if he just needs a rest after that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Chris, do you want to let everybody know how they can follow you? Like I said, Chris has his own show, but Chris is a great source for Arsenal news on Twitter. One of the very best in the business. Lots of followers, and rightly so, deservedly so. Chris, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, thanks, Aaron. It's very kind of you to say. Of course, they follow me on Twitter at @cdavison_ASC, and yeah, like you just pretty much summed it up, just keeping everyone up to date with what's going on at the club.
Brilliant stuff. Chris, thank you so much, mate. I'm going to have to leave it there just because we're running really short of time, but we'll speak again very soon.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Hi to Mike as well.
He says hi. You can't. We've got this issue tonight where the way I've plugged everything in means that we can all hear the caller. The caller can hear me, but the caller can't hear Mike. So I do apologize about that, guys. But once we started the show, I couldn't exactly stop it, unplug everything and put it all back in again. So we're just going to have to live with it for tonight. But Chris, thank you so much, mate. And speak soon.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
Another brilliant call, Chris
Davison.
So guys, Chris Davison doesn't get a t-shirt. He's already going to get one because he's got a show. So don't vote for Chris. No offense, Chris, but you know, we want the callers who are not on the channel regularly to be in with a shout for winning those. So please do vote for those people. Let's go to the next one. Again, we're going overseas. Hello, welcome to the Chronicles of a Gooner, mate. What's your name and where are you talking to us from?
Hey Harry, it's Anis. I'm joining you guys from Pakistan. How are you guys?
Welcome, mate. What time is it in Pakistan now?
It's almost 3 a.m.
3 a.m. And
Yeah.
you're watching the Chronicles of a Gooner, my friend. I take my hat off to you. Thank you so much.
You're brilliant. You're brilliant.
Thank you. What do you want to say? Go ahead. Sorry, you were going to say something, weren't you? Go on. Sorry, I cut you there. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I was just gonna say that every caller has expressed almost everything that we all feel about our season so far. And I just finished watching Champions League football, Juve versus Atleti.
Great game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great game. And I feel we have a match tomorrow, but I don't feel excited for the next match. I'm a very positive Gooner, but all the excitement within a few weeks of our new season is gone. We can talk about the stats, we can talk about everything, but this is how I feel about our season. And you guys were talking about mid-season sacking, and I guess we don't have much options, to be quite honest, for managerial positions. We have a certain style of play for like last 22 years. Emery has ruined that, and we do want to continue that, because I started following Arsenal in 2014. So I'm not a glory hunting guy and I fell in love with the style of play and the class we have, and that all thing up in last season and this season, that's gone. This is the more worrying thing for me.
Yeah. What do you make of the Ozil situation? I keep asking everyone tonight, but that for me is the big news today. Mesut Ozil has been rested and left behind. Why does he need a rest when he hasn't played any football?
Uh, we have to go back to the last season. He, for some reason, he benched Ramsey. He benched Ozil. Then he switched the style of play and said that Ozil does not suit the style of pressing and everything. He didn't use the pressing style. Okay, and I don't know what's going on with these two, but I'm pretty sure looking around in the footballing world, players, most of the time outlast the managers. So I'm hoping Ozil is one of the reasons I started following Arsenal after the World Cup win. When he joined Arsenal, he was one of the reasons I started following Arsenal, and I love the guy. He's the only guy who can pick a pass. He was part of the counter-attacking Mourinho's side. So if he cannot counter-attack, I don't know what he can do. I don't know what Emery wants from him. I mean, he can do that. He has done that with the most pacey forwards in Real Madrid. I don't know how he can say that he cannot play the counter-attacking football. He can do that. He can pick a pass. He can hold the ball. If you look at the stats of of the players dispossessed, he would be in the least dispossessed players in our team.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you've said, my friend. I think you're absolutely spot on. Just finally, mate, what's your take on the captaincy situation? We were told that we were going to be given more information regarding the 5 captains because Unai insists on having 5 captains. We were told we were going to find out this week. That's now apparently been delayed until next week. That's a real problem, is it not?
It is. It is. He should have announced that. I don't know why is he picking 5? Maybe a captain, vice captain. That's it. Let's all focus on the football and leave this captain's debate behind us. Whoever he picks, let's go with it. But I don't know what's going on with that situation as well. I don't know if the players want to play for him. I don't know what's going on. It's a mess, to be quite honest. At the start I said the excitement is gone. Even in Wenger's last year, we all knew that we were not going to keep a clean sheet, but we all knew we are going to score. We are going to score, and our 2 strikers are the only scorers in our last season.
Agreed.
And every other goal scoring, other the areas of the pitch have tried goal scoring. There are no goal scorers anywhere else on the pitch.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Time and time again, they've been, they've been bailing him out. And now, when other teams can figure out Oba and Laka, we don't have any other goal scorers, and we lose the game easily.
You're absolutely
that happened
right.
in the final, Europa final.
Agreed, my friend. Anis, thank you so much, mate, for coming on. I'm going to have to leave it there, my friend, just because we are over the hour already and we've got a couple more calls to get to. But a big thank you for coming on, and thank you for staying up this late to watch us and listen to us. Thank you.
Brilliant. You guys are brilliant. Keep it up. Thank you,
mate. All the best.
Take care.
Mike, that's incredible. We've got people tuning in at 3 o'clock in the morning from pretty much the other side of the world. It's unreal, isn't it?
Mad. I mean, the dedication, like what I was saying earlier, dedication from fans that are in other countries is probably even more than some of ours, to be honest. Because getting up at 5 a.m. to watch games, 3 a.m. to come on Chronicles of a Gooner. We got man like Deepak saying, "Hit the like button." Harry's paying him, giving him the shirt.
Yeah, guys, please do hit that like button. It is so important. I cannot tell you how important it is. A big thanks to Dipak as well for constantly giving you guys a nudge in the chat there. Right, let's go over to another call. We've got a couple more that we're going to do before we wrap it up this evening. Here we go. Let's hit the button.
Welcome to the...
No, still not working. Okay, I guess what the issue is, guys, is that if you put your number down and you have your phone set to not accept calls from a private number, we won't be able to get through to you. It's a problem that we've sort of experienced over the last few weeks. But of course, as you can understand, if I put my number on the internet, God help us. So we're dialing you all from a private number. So if your phone is set to not accept private number calls and you want to be on the show, you need to just adjust that at least temporarily so we can get you on the line. Let's go to another caller. Here we go. Good evening. Good evening, Dipak. Mr. Dipak in the chat. The man getting everybody to like the show. Welcome, mate. How are you?
How you doing? I'm all right, man. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Sitting here wondering where Arsenal go from here, what we're going to see tomorrow night. What have you made of Unai Emery in recent weeks, the start to the season, the Watford game, the Ozil thing? Where do you want to start, mate?
Yeah, I came in late to the show tonight. Sorry about that, but I'm here. Thanks so much for taking the call. I'm going to go somewhere where something's been bugging me from the third game. That someone is Pepe. Harry, your callers, I'm scared. I think this guy at the moment is looking like a Theo Walcott / Jermaine Tennant. No final ball. He's got the pace. He's running like Linford Christie or Usain Bolt down the line. I know he hasn't had a pre-season. Every time I'm sat in the North Bank watching him play, I'm thinking, what are you doing? Like, just because you got a bit of trickery at your feet, 72 million pounds. When do we start to think, okay, you're justifying your price tag, mate? And more importantly, will Unai have the Troy Deeney here, cojones, to bench him? Because in the last 5 games, I'm sorry, I don't think he's done much. So I'll put that to you guys and your callers. I need to see more from Pepe. Like I said, I know he hasn't had a pre-season, but come on, man,
That is a huge statement, Dipak, but I'm not going to completely agree with you because I still think it's early days. But I'm not going to disagree with you either because I worry that maybe not so much that Pepe doesn't have the potential or that he can't have an impact on this side, but I worry that maybe Unai Emery won't find the way of getting that impact out of him. And one thing that you can always say about Arsene Wenger is that he did get the best out of his attacking players more often than not. I'm going to bring Mike in on this and get his take on that. Dipak, you won't be able to hear Mike, unfortunately, due to a technical problem, but I'll bring you back in as soon as Mike chips in on this one.
Yeah, if he's watching on YouTube, you'll be able to hear me and shout at me 30 seconds later, Dipak. So listen to that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think that's extremely harsh. He's played 4 games. Yeah, he's not found his feet yet, but you got to think at Lille, it's a completely different system. They were playing a counter attack, and that's what suits him. Also, you got to think the league that he's come from. He's come from League 1. Well, let's be honest, the standard isn't fantastic. It will take time to settle in. He needs to get better, and he needs to be a lot sharper. But don't forget as well, Emery's deployed him as a striker 2 times, and that's not his natural position. So I agree with you, Harry. Emery's probably not the man to get the best out of him, but we do need to be patient. I think I personally, just in that Liverpool game alone, saw enough, because we did play on the counter-attack, to tell me that he's going to be a good enough player for us. I think if he would have scored that goal against Liverpool and changed the entire game, I don't think these conversations would be happening, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Dipak, Mike thinks it's a little bit harsh, but he also agrees that maybe Unai Emery isn't the right man to get the maximum out of him. Now that Arsenal says, I agree with Dipak, we need to see more. But Thierry Henry didn't score in how many games when he joined? I think it was 18. Pepe needs time. Once he gets fit, I think more will follow. Do you not think that maybe in time that we'll get the best out of him, Dipak?
Only time will tell on that. But I just want to jump to the whole Unai Emery thing now.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't know what's happened to Unai Emery this season. 5 games, in my opinion, he's playing defensive, counter-attacking football. Now, why? You know, we haven't been on the front foot at all. Like, I think of his first couple of games last season, the 45-minute substitute, like second half substitution, or like 50th minute, all that's gone. You know, a lot of the fan base seems to think Tierney, Holding and Bellerin are the answer, but they're not, because if we're playing defensive, counter-attacking football, we can't defend. We're soaking up that pressure so like the likes of Watford can go and have like 31 shots on target. Just seeing Unai on the touchline, you know, he's not his usual self. Like, he's not barking orders and stuff. He's like sitting down a lot more.
But Dipak, like talking about like Unai Emery and that he's changed and stuff, I get that, because we have seen a slightly different approach. But I just think any manager that looks at this group of players and doesn't acknowledge or understand or realise that Arsenal need to play on the front foot is just shit to me. I mean, that is basic, number one. And then also, when people used to talk about those substitutions that Unai Emery used to make and how they used to impact games, the harsh reality is that he used to bring Aubameyang on after 60 minutes. He used to bring a striker on when he needed to score a goal. To me, that's not a tactical genius. That is common sense. That's what you or I would do. That's what anyone would do. So do you think that we kind of, again, we got excited by the fact that his substitutions made impact? But when you think about it and you look at it in a little bit more detail, bringing on a striker to score a goal is a no-brainer, is it not?
Yeah, I think, you know, I mean, absolutely. And in addition to bringing on a striker, okay, going back to the Pepe thing, just momentarily, if he's not match fit or what have you, look, the likes of Martinelli had a great pre-season, even against Newcastle was great. Saka as well. These young guys like Nelson, they're hungry. They're hungrier. They're like, who makes the mistakes? The bulk of the mistakes in all our games have come from the quote-unquote experienced players. You know, I now look back at Unai starting season last year and his 22 unbeaten record. Part of me, there's, you know, devil's advocate. Did he just strike it lucky? You know, I mean, how far, you know, I personally don't think we're going to get top 4. And, you know, if you're going to ask me who's going to replace Emery, I would say, you know what, that's one thing I'm not worried about. Not at all. Why? Because of Raul. Raul will find someone, irrespective. You know, I can so many names in that hat. But, you know, after what Raul did, you know, this summer, and Edu as well now, there, if Unai's got to go, he's got to go. But, you know, I'm paying like 49 to bid, man, sitting up in the North Bank, and I'm thinking, like you just said, come on, man, it's common sense. Like, is he burnt out? Unai Emery, you know? I don't know, but, you know, like just before you called me, I just looked at Twitter, and I saw like Lee Gunner, he put out a statement, and he was like, oh, since the European final, Ozil cost us 6 million in wages. Okay, right, he's there, we got to put up with him. But, you know, against Watford, like, you're bringing off the Bios, whatever, I don't know, there's rumours he put an ice pack on, but there was more hungrier players. I mean, Pepe, even before, like, the Bios would have bring Pepe off, he's giving us nothing.
See, I get annoyed when people keep bringing up Mesut Ozil's wages, because the fact is Mesut Ozil gets those wages partly because he's a good footballer, and he was probably our best footballer at the time at the club once Alexis Sanchez had left, but partly because his commercial influence that he has and the fact that he brings the club so much commercial revenue. We go and play a game in Dubai, the stadium fills up with people in Ozil shirts. Anywhere in the Middle East, any sort of Muslim country, Mesut in particular, not just Muslim countries, he's a hero everywhere, but particularly in Muslim countries, Mesut Ozil is a huge influence and a huge commercial value, I should say. So people need to get that in their heads as well. Like the club do make money off Ozil's back as well.
Yeah, but at the same time, the club would make much more money if we started bringing in silverware, and we wouldn't have to. We wouldn't have to rely on that. Otherwise, field 11 players, like build a team with 11 Ozils, and just sit back and just we'll just come mid-table because we're making like lots of money.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. You do make money with silverware, of course, but for me, that's why.
And history. What's history going to do, Harry? Is it going to remember how much Mesut Ozil and his fan base brought in, or how many titles we won?
It's sad that we've got so many problems on the pitch, and all everybody talks about is Mesut Ozil's wages. That's kind of our problems are in the defensive areas, not in that number 10 in the whole position. That's kind of my only point. Deepak, thank you so much, mate. Sorry. Go ahead.
Just before I go, I just want to shout out Darkside AFC. I had some great banter with him about you on Twitter. So yeah, thanks. Yeah.
I saw that. I didn't catch the end of it, but I saw some of it.
man, he's so funny. All right, cool. Keep up the great work. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, mate. All the best. Bye. Another great call. Right, let's go. We're going to go to our final call of the night, and then we're going to wrap things up. Let's see if we can get through. Here we go. Oh, that's a new ringtone.
Jesus.
Hello.
Good evening. Welcome to the Chronicles of a Gooner. What's your name and where are you talking to us from?
My name's Alex Field, and I just want to sort of talk about our current manager, the current way we're playing the game, which I'm, in all consideration, not too sure about. We don't seem to have any sort of system. Now, when he was appointed, I was quite unsure because I had hoped that we would perhaps go all out and get somebody like Allegri. But we didn't do that, fair enough. And I think this is Gazidi's last gift, shall we say. But last year, his first match was against Bourne Wood. It was a friendly. There seemed to be a little bit of press, but not a great deal, which you could forgive because it was his first match and he'd only been there sort of 5 minutes. But as time went on, it got less and less looking like a press. So then you think to yourself, well, we're actually sort of winning games and he's changing things during the game, which was a sort of a complaint that Wenger only changed things on 70 minutes and we got very predictable. But I'm getting Wenger-esque flashbacks.
So Alex, do you want Unai out then, like me?
I don't think if this continues, I don't think that they will renew his contract, in truth. I'm not one for fast triggers. But, we're not getting where we want to be getting, and we don't seem to be having a plan to get there. You've got Symeou saying, oh, well, we're going to do this and that and the other, and the Indian chap or the Ceylonese chap saying, yes, well, we must get, Champions League football, but we do not seem to be getting any better. The guy's been there 13 months. He seems to be ostracizing Ozil. For what reason, I don't know. He played 70 minutes and was replaced by a child. And now, Emery comes out and says, oh, he's too tired to go to Eintracht Frankfurt. Well, I'm sorry. It doesn't wash any longer. He did the very same thing to a couple of stars in the Russian team that he managed for about 6 months. Spartak Moscow it was. And the owners in the end decided, no, we're backing our players. Because apparently what happened, so I read, in his book, was that two of the players forgot their passports. He went absolutely mental and kicked them to train with the children. And the rest of the players didn't like it too much. But then Emery himself, forgot his passport and thought it was funny. Nobody else did. And that's when the players all rebelled. And the owners had to act. And he only was there 6 months in Russia.
So, Alex, are you on Mesut Ozil's side in this?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Me too.
But
Me too.
Ozil is our only. I know this goes against a lot of people on the Arsenal away boys, but I'm sorry, Ozil is our only world-class player. He has never really been played properly. I don't know what Arsene Wenger told him when he convinced him to come to the Arsenal, but really, if you look at how Germany used to play with Ozil, he had Bastian Schweinsteiger and the chap Khedira playing behind him, both as sort of mopping up midfield players, although Schweinsteiger really is a box-to-box player, ball winner, which is what we have lacked. We haven't actually had a proper ball-winning defensive midfielder since Gilberto. In my opinion.
Agree. Alex, I completely agree with you. Alex, thank you so much. I'm going to have to cut it there just because we're running short on time.
Certainly all right. I'm sorry about my telephone. I shall get the doings, the book out tomorrow and try and unravel what I've done to it.
That's all right. It's not just you. Lots of people have it. They just have a setting that prevents private numbers coming through.
I wish I knew which one it was. I would have undone it for you. I'm ever so sorry.
No problem at all. Lovely chatting to you, Alex, and we'll speak again soon.
Thank you very much. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. That was Alex Field. Guys, that brings us to the end of this week's phone-in show. Just had the squad up there on the screen. There is not going to be an Eintracht Frankfurt preview on this channel, unfortunately. We'll be doing a show tomorrow night after the game. But just a quick look at the squad. Of course, no Ozil, no Socrates. Those are the notable absentees. But other than that, it's a pretty strong squad. Bukayo Saka is in there, so maybe he'll play a part. We'll have to wait and see. Shkodran Mustafi, everybody's favourite centre-back, is in there too. So I'm sure you'll all be pleased to hear that. Guys, if you want to please vote for whoever you think should win the shirt this week. There's a lot of comments coming through for Alex.
Alex is a legend.
So just to run through the callers, there was Glenn, there was Egal, there was Melvin, there was Colin, there was Wasiu, there was Alex, there was Dipak, and there was Anissa, or Anis, I think. Yeah, Anis. Have I missed anyone, Mike?
Alex.
Yeah, well, Alex is cleaning up in the vote here. Alex is cleaning up. Alex is absolutely smashing it. Alex, I'm going to be in touch if you are the winner. I think by looking at this, I think you are. So congratulations. We'll be sending you a Chronicles of a Gooner t-shirt out. And like I said, if you want to get your hands on one anyway, they're available at cost price. So please do DM me and I'll get that sorted for you. A big thanks to my co-host this evening, Mike. Apologies, Mike, with the issues that we had. But we'll get it sorted for next time. And that's the thing with a live show, isn't it?
Yeah, Simpy saying that Mike should win one. Simpy, I agree with you, mate. But I've asked Harry and he said no. So
do you know what it is, Simpy? Do you know what it is? I want to give one to Mike, but I don't have any in small boys at the moment. So that's the problem. I've only got mediums, larges, and extra large at the moment. I've seen Mike wear some tight bloody shorts. I'll tell you that. Alex, look, Alex is just cleaning up in the vote.
Cult hero.
Even Chris Davison says it's got to be Alex. Great show. Joel B says, send Alex some tea and biscuits, Alex. I'll be sending you a t-shirt. I can't send you tea and biscuits. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in. Really, really appreciate it. Don't forget to smash that like button if you haven't already. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. And a big hello to everybody watching it back later on, whether that's on YouTube or listening back on all the audio platforms. We're going to leave you with a brief message from our sponsors, loserpool.com, and we'll be back tomorrow with another live stream. So until then, take care.